Hello everyone. In this video we'll be looking at startup scripts and UI plugins. There is a lot you can do with these to help improve your workflows, for instance using callbacks and event handlers to inject code whenever any action takes place in Katana. We are in the Napo scene again, and right now if I were to switch shots, say from 1030 to 1010, my frame range stays the same. Instead, what I'd like to happen is that whenever you switch shots, it will look up in a database the frame range for that shot, and then update it in Katana. I'd want the same thing to happen whenever I load a scene. It will check if there is a shot variable. If so, look it up in the database, and then update the frame range. Also, in a previous tutorial, we looked at this fit backdrop node to selected nodes action, and how we can add a shortcut key to it. What we'd like to do is register this shortcut key whenever we open Katana. We would like to add another startup complete callback to register a new context menu for group and variable enabled group nodes, so we can easily add input and output ports to them. Finally, we will add a new function to the parameter Python expressions that will give us the parent location of a given scene graph location. Before we set up our callbacks and event handlers, let's quickly take a look at our options. If we go to the Python console and we were to type in utils.eventModule.get all registered event types and run this. These are all the events that we can hook code to. So, you set the parameter value, any kind of things like node graph changes, all that kind of stuff. Also, we have callbacks. So if we go to callbacks, we have type. And then from type, we have all these different callbacks we can use. So there's things here for the gaffer, for live groups. And we also have things for on scene load, and when we have a startup complete, when a tab's created, etc. And we're going to use these hooks to be able to have code run whenever they happen. Okay, now to be able to add in code for startup scripts and UI plugins, we need to add these folders. So let's jump over to my folders here. Again, we're in users adam.katana, where we have macros and shelves. And we're going to add in a new folder called startup. So you'll have to add this if you don't have it. And it has to be spelled correctly, so capital S and capital U. We'll make another new folder called UI plugins, which we'll have a look at later. And let's go into the startup folder. And we're going to make a new file, and it's going to be called init.py. So for startup scripts, it has to be this init.py. That's what we'll look for to run. And let's go inside here, and we'll say from Katana, we're going to import those modules we were talking about before. So utils and callbacks. And I'm also going to import logging, so we can log what we're doing as we're going along. So we'll say log is equal to logging.get logger. We'll call this startup. And then we'll say log.info, and we'll say registering parameter set event handler. And now we need to use our utils.eventModule, and then we need to register event handler. Now the first argument that needs to be passed is the function that is going to be run when this event happens. And let's call that parameter set. Next, it's what event is actually happening. So it needs a string of the name of the event. So parameter _set value. So whenever a parameter's value is set, it's going to run our function parameter set. Makes sense? So let's write that now. So I'll make a new function called parameter set. And whenever you have a function that is run from an event, it will have a lot of arguments. So it will have an event type. It will have an event ID. And in this case, it will have a parameter for our parameter that is set. And we'll also set any quarks. Now what we want to do is set the frame range, but we want to do this if a parameter is set or if a scene is loaded. So we'll use the same function for both, which we will call set frame range. And we'll write this in a minute and we'll pass it the parameter. Okay, so let's now have our callback. So we'll say log.info. And we'll say adding on scene load callback. And we'll do callbacks. Add a callback. We'll say callbacks dot type dot on scene load. So what callback do we want to add, and then what function do we want to run on scene load, and let's just call this on scene load as well. And let's add this function as well. So def on scene load, and when you use a callback, you'll get the object hash. And you'll also get the file name in this case for this callback. And then we'll say from Katana, we'll import the node graph API. And what we'd want to do is get the root node. So root node is equal to node graph API get root node. And then we want to get the shot param from our root node. So say root node get parameter variables dot shot dot value. We'll say if we do have our shot param, then we can run our set frame range and give it our shot param. Now you'll notice here that I've imported the node graph API inside of this function. Well, you've got to remember when you have these functions that are set off by callbacks and event handlers, so they're self-contained, so they wouldn't be able to see things being imported at the top level here, and they can't see each other. And that also means that this set frame range wouldn't be available to these different functions unless I make it global. So we can say global set frame range. Global set frame range. Also, you could have this set frame range in another file and import that in. You just have to remember you have to import it for each of these functions. Okay, so let's now write our function for setting the frame range. So, set frame range takes just a parameter as an argument, and we're going to global our log so we can use that. And we'll say from Katana import node graph API again. And we're going to make up a frame range dictionary. So what you would normally do at this point is get your frame range of your shot, I'm just making this all up. So I'm going to make a dictionary that contains shots that then have a tuple of the frame range. So let's say for shot 1010, it has a tuple that goes from frame 1001 to 1100. And let's say 1030. 1030 will go from 1005 to 1050. And then let's say root node is equal to node graph API dot get root node. And now we want to check if the parameter coming in is our lovely shot parameter. So we'll say if param.getNode is equal to our root node and variables dot shot dot value is equal to param dot get full name but without the node. So we'll say include node name is equal to false. So if all of that is true, then we'll need to get our shot. So we'll say shot equals shot param dot get value at time 0. So if shot is in our frame range dict dot keys, then we'll say if the frame range is equal to, and we'll take our frame range dict and give it the shot. And now we actually have to set the frame range. So we'll take our root node and we'll get parameter of in time. And we'll set this value to be frame range 0 at 0. Let's just copy that, and then we just need to change it to out time for the second value in our tuple for the out time. Finally, we'll use an else statement and we'll log a warning to say that the shot is not in database format of the shot. No, shot. Okay. Okay, so that's our frame range stuff set up. The other thing we want in our init.py is to do our parameter expression. So we'll do another log. So we'll say log.info and we'll say adding expression function called parent location. And we'll use node graph API, so we'll import that guy as well. I'll say node graph API set expression global value, and this needs the name that the expression is going to be in Katana, so we'll say parent location. And then when you use that function in Katana, what's the function that it's going to run? And we'll just say node graph expression parent location. So let's add our node graph expression parent location function. It's quite a mouthful. There we go. And this will take a location, which will be our scene graph location. And we can import from os.path the dir name. And we can say if location is not equal to root, then we want to find the parent. That makes sense. So if we get all the way up to root, we don't want to go any further. Root is the end. And we'll say location equals dir name location. So dir name will give us the parent location, and then we'll return this. So whatever is returned will be what will be returned in the expression inside Katana. Okay, and that should be it. So let's save that, and then we'll close Katana and open it again, and we'll see what happens. Let's close this down. Whoa. Open Katana. And we should see as it's opening, oh, I've messed something up. Node Graph API has no attribute set expression global value. Okay, that's easy to fix. Let's jump over here and set expression just one global value. Thank you very much. And then let's close Katana. Close all these guys. Okay. Let's try again. There we go. Now we can see they're registering. So if we jump back here, registering parameters, set event handler, adding on scene load callback, and add an expression function parent location. Hehe. Nice. So let's now open our Napo scene. Let's see. Oh, we've got another error. Name short param not defined. Line 16. Oh. Should just be param, sorry. And let's save that. Let's try opening our scene again. So, Napo scene. Hopefully we'll see the frame range change. There we go. Now it's changed to 1001 to 1100. And we switch shots to 1030. Updates to 1005 to 1050. Let's change it back to 1010 again. And let's try changing it to a shot that's not in the database. You'll see a flashing light up here. 1014 not in database. Nice. Okay, let's also just kind of check our parameter expression that we've made. So let's just expand this out, and we'll just make a group node quick. And let's add in a user parameter string, and we'll make this an expression. And we'll say parent location. We'll copy to clipboard this location, paste it in, and we should be able to get the parent location of this location. Excellent. And then of course you could nest it, so you could say parent location of the parent location. We'll go up again and keep going. Keep going, and what we want to see is that it doesn't go past root. So one last time, if we do it once more, it should stay at root. Yeah, look at that, all working. Okay, so now hop on to the next video for UI plugins.